As the rain pours down nonstop over the city, a young girl, IM, sprints through the deserted streets heading to her school. Unbeknownst to her, her brief moments of normalcy are about to be disrupted by a chilling encounter with a mysterious figure whose sinister plans will irrevocably change her life's path. As her umbrella is abandoned in the downpour, a terrifying revelation surfaces, one that will challenge her bravery, sense of justice, and the delicate hope for a better future amidst unimaginable sorrow. What follows is an unyielding quest for truth and recovery that will make you wonder how far a family will go to piece back together their broken world. A kite soaring above the city is depicted, moving freely on its own accord. IM, a girl named IM, resides in this city. At just 8 years old, she is incredibly intelligent. When she's about to return home from school, her friend Pete is there, but she decides to go home alone. They often have disagreements. IM returns home, and the following morning, as she prepares for school, she asks her mom to braid her hair. But her mom is occupied. Her dad is also preoccupied, and he doesn't know how to braid her hair. IM's parents both work. They work hard, even though they adore IM deeply, but they struggle to find time for her. At the moment, IM is on her way to school, but today's weather is terrible, with heavy rain. Her mom inquires, "Are you coming to drop me off at school?" IM replies, "I'll be there in 3 minutes, on my way." Her mom advises her to take the main street, which is considered safer. IM departs for her school. By the time all of IM's friends have made it to school while jogging, IM is also on her way. This is why it appears as though someone is keeping an eye on her, and the kite that was soaring freely at the start of the story has now fallen to the ground and is becoming soaked. The man who retrieves the kite positions himself in front of IM and asks, "Are you on your way to school?" IM confirms, "Yes." He compliments her on her umbrella and asks if he might share it. IM responds, "I'm running late for school," and glances towards the school, which is a bit out of reach. However, due to the rain, there's no one outside. She turns around, but the area is eerily quiet. Suddenly, the scene shifts to IM's umbrella, which is completely destroyed. Following this, IM's shoes, bag, and other belongings are left behind, and IM is still there. IM manages to call an ambulance from her phone. The ambulance arrives, and IM is taken to the hospital, which has now become a significant concern. When IM's mother visits the hospital and witnesses her daughter's state, she becomes frightened and ends up falling, suffering injuries all over her body. In reality, this man not only abused her, but also took her life, leaving IM alive but in a critical condition. Medical professionals have determined that she requires surgery, necessitating the removal of both small and large sections of her intestine. Following the operation, the surgeon informs IM's father that the removal of her large intestine and anus necessitated the insertion of an artificial one, which will require the use of an ostomy bag for waste disposal. This new reality will be a permanent part of her life. The incident, caused by an animal, has shattered the once joyful family. Upon regaining consciousness, IM's father approaches her. IM inquires, "Did you miss work today?" Her father responds that his shift has concluded. IM expresses her desire for her father to apprehend the individual who inflicted her pain, noting the numerous pockets in her pants. Her father advises her to take some rest. IM confesses to feeling drowsy, fearing that she might forget everything if she falls asleep. Deep down, she is determined to bring the perpetrator to justice, despite her tender age. IM's intellect far surpasses her years. IM has fallen asleep, and her dad struggles to leave her room. At the same moment, IM's dad learns from the police that the individual responsible for harming his daughter has been caught. This is why people are flocking to the police station, where the officers inform him that they lack any proof against the accused. They will, however, require IM's testimony. Upon hearing this, IM's mom becomes furious. She exclaims, "She's just survived such a traumatic event, and now you want her to relive it." This leads to a heated exchange between IM's mom and dad, revealing their unstable mental states. Therefore, the female police officer here advises IM's dad to return home and bring her favorite toys. Upon hearing this, IM's dad is taken aback. The female police officer explains that the psychiatrist assigned to IM has instructed her to relay this information. Upon returning home, IM's dad finds his most cherished cartoon character, Kokomon, and takes her to the hospital. At the hospital, the assigned psychiatrist arrives to begin IM's treatment, which involves talking therapy. IM is physically disabled, unable to walk. She visits IM. IM's dad has brought her a cartoon character from their home. The psychiatrist aims to restore her to a normal state, and once she does, she begins to inquire about things. All interactions are documented here. IM is presented with individual photos of various people. Upon seeing the face of the person who has wronged her, she shuts her eyes. The psychiatrist realizes this is the individual. Following this, IM is shown numerous small photos, and she is asked, "Who is that man among them?" IM struggles to open her eyes, but eventually points to the photo of the person who has caused her harm. With all the evidence gathered, the police are ready to apprehend him. As the psychiatrist departs, she advises IM's dad that IM will need to recover both physically and emotionally, a process that requires the family's support. She also mentions that IM's spouse and you should seek treatment. She hands over her visitor's card, stating that she can be contacted at any time. Upon hearing this, IM's mother becomes furious. She questions, "What are you attempting to implant in our thoughts?" And she hands back her card. The same police apprehend the individual. Following his capture, the incident rapidly gains media attention, and the public is drawn to the hospital. Whenever IM's father learns of this, he rushes into the hospital. He is determined to protect his daughter from the media's scrutiny, aware of the extent to which the story will be covered. As he transfers his daughter to a different room, the media also enters. However, IM's father cradles his daughter, also holding her glucose supply, and proceeds up the stairs. IM's mother attempts to halt the media. In the process, IM's mother faints due to her pregnancy. IM's father escorts her to another room and inquires, "Did I do something to upset you?" Her father reassures him, "No, you haven't done anything to upset me." In the midst of this, IM's bag, which contains her excretory waste, shifts, causing the waste to spill onto the bed. As her father begins to dress her, she experiences a flashback of the traumatic event, suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. When that creature abuses her, she turns utterly agitated at first. Her father fails to grasp her emotions, but soon realizes what she's going through. So he retreats, which devastates him to the core. In the evening, he returns to IM's room, and upon seeing him, IM wraps herself entirely in a sheet. He explains to her that her mother is ill, which is the reason she hasn't been able to visit her. He also mentions that IM needs a sibling soon. Her younger brother or sister is expected to arrive. However, IM avoids any conversation with her father and keeps the sheet over her face, which deeply saddens IM's father. He realizes that the recent event this morning is the cause of IM's reluctance to see him or speak to him. This situation has deeply affected IM's father, leaving him heartbroken. He reassures her, "I'm outside, you don't have to hide your face," and they step out together. Meanwhile, the cost of IM's medical bills is steadily rising, and her father is struggling financially. This is why he reaches out to his friend, who he works with. His friend has been supportive in the past and continues to be so. He also advises her, "Don't think you're on leave. I'm really worried about you." On that day, the individual in the courtroom is the one who had mistreated IM. When questioned in court, he outright refuses to answer. He states, "I'm employed at a construction site. I worked throughout the night. By morning, I had consumed alcohol and returned home to sleep." Despite overwhelming evidence against him, EM's blood was found on his clothing, as well as the soil from the crime scene on his shoes where the incident occurred. He claims his shoes were stolen, and a day prior to his arrest, the police had visited his house. In reality, what he's implying is that he's being set up. IM's father has a friend who assists him. He strikes him with a shoe and asks, "Do you consider yourself human?" The police apprehend him and remove him. Upon his return to the hospital, IM's father discovers individuals in IM's room playing with her, dressed in cartoon costumes, which she finds amusing. In truth, these are her husband's wife, her friend, and the nurse. The psychiatrist instructed him to follow these steps, which were part of the process to gather his wife's testimony. His wife might have called him again, but the price of the costume was too steep for him to afford. Whenever he paid the costume makers with his credit card, He also inquired about the weekly cost of a costume. They informed him it was $3,500, which was beyond his budget. He inquired, "Can I pay in installments?" Upon learning this, he realized he couldn't afford it. However, he also had a realization about his own financial situation. That's why he decided to give him a costume as a gift. He mentioned, "Once your work is complete, please return it to me. This outfit belongs to Kokomon." And now his father is in his room wearing Cam's dress. Upon seeing this, she was overjoyed. At the same time, she also wore Kokomon's necklace around her neck. The following morning, the psychiatrist had another conversation with IM. They spoke extensively. The psychiatrist also informed her that her school was about to reopen. In reality, it was during the summer vacation. She asked IM, "Do you want to go back to school?" IM replied with a no. In reality, she believed that everyone knew what had happened to her, which is why she didn't want to return to school. The therapist inquires, "How are you feeling?" In this moment, we delve into IM's emotional and psychological state. She mentions that her situation has impacted her parents' ability to work and has led to significant financial strain due to her medical expenses, which she finds distressing. Despite missing her peers at school greatly, she's uncertain about her ability to return. She nightly hopes for a better tomorrow, viewing it as a dream, yet her reality remains unchanged upon waking. Her grandmother has often expressed a desire for death. Initially, IM was unable to comprehend this, but now she does. The reason behind her existence remains a mystery. Deeply wounded, IM's emotional and psychological healing will require considerable time and effort. Now her parents are coming to collect her, but she's not looking at her dad. That's the reason he always puts a divider in the car when he drives. As they drive by the spot where the incident occurred, she begins to feel sick. He drives quickly and arrives home, but as soon as he steps out of the car, she throws up. That's why she notices the kind messages from her friends, especially Pete, pinned to her mom's shop window. This sight lifts her spirits. The following morning, Pete tells his dad that if he had accompanied her that day, she wouldn't have experienced this. After making this statement, he bursts into tears. His dad reassures him that it's not his fault. His friends have sent numerous cards to him, which is why he feels more confident now. The next day, his aunt takes him to school, but the colostomy bag around his waist, which collects his waste, makes him feel uncomfortable. He's unsure how to explain it to the kids who ask, which makes him anxious. However, his dad arrives, wearing a Kokomon dress, which makes her happy and boosts her confidence. She attends school with her aunt. In this scenario, her father consistently follows her around to prevent her from feeling isolated, and he also instructs her teacher to avoid the male teacher, aware of her fear of men. Additionally, he carries a bag around her waist, filled with chocolate, to avoid any potential embarrassment if asked about its contents. The following day, her friend inquires about the contents of the bag, to which she responds that it contains chocolate. She even shares some with him, and they return home together. Throughout the journey, her father maintains a distance, allowing her to feel more secure with the knowledge that her friend is by her side. Gradually, she realizes that her father is concealed within the bag. She attempts to communicate with Kokomon, but he remains silent. Consequently, she brings Kokomon to her mother, seeking confirmation that her father is indeed inside him. When Kokomon's mask is taken off, her father is trapped inside. In reality, it's incredibly hard to remain trapped there due to the intense heat, and her father is completely drenched in sweat. She cleans her father's sweat, and as a result, the gap between her father and IM widens. Following this, her father is summoned and informed that IM's case is deteriorating due to the criminal asserting his physical and mental frailty. Additionally, it was noted that IM's father was intoxicated at the time of the incident, which is why he filed a complaint, and the recorded statement from IM's camera has been deleted. Consequently, IM will have to appear in court. IM's father is aware that this situation is unjust for IM. She will never have to confront the individual responsible for these actions. Now, IM's father visits the prison to confront the criminal. He claims that if I have committed all these acts, then I have forfeited my right to live. No one else would do such a thing. Only a pig would act like this. However, in a sudden change of heart, he suggests a deal. He admits that he lacks funds now, but promises to earn money soon, and to compensate IM for whatever she demands. IM's father senses a lie in his words. He recalls every detail and now faces the criminal with threats. He warns that if a deal isn't made, he will escape from jail soon and that he can commit the same act again. This revelation angers I.M.'s father, causing him to strike the chair against the glass. Today, the day arrives when the accused rapist is brought back to court. I.M., who recognizes him, is also summoned to testify. Yet despite this, the judge imposes a mere 12-year sentence. This decision incites widespread anger among everyone present in the courtroom. I.M.'s father, having made a pact with himself that he would take revenge if the judge were to reduce the sentence, had already planned this. I.M., aware of her father's intentions, clutches her leg in tears. Her father, moved by her words, embraces her. Months later, it is revealed that I.M.'s mother has given birth to a son, who is I.M.'s brother. I.M.'s father announces that he has named the child, and now he will name her brother. At this time, I.M.'s friend Pete is also present, and they share the same lighthearted banter they once did. On the surface, everything seems normal, yet it's clear that I.M. often leaves school early, unable to shake off the impact of her brother's arrival. This new chapter in her life has brought her a renewed sense of hope, joy, and purpose, guiding her towards a new path. This tale is a source of suffering for many individuals, leaving a lasting impact on their existence. No one, not even if you shower them with the world's greatest joys by shattering the moon and stars, can experience it. Yet, what has occurred to them, what is currently happening, remains beyond the comprehension and touch of humans.